What up, what up, what up, sports fans all over the world? It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan, here with my guys, the horsemen, Zion Zenith, Adam Costas. This is the Premium Takes Podcast. Let's go!
Yo, 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 what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's back on a Thursday afternoon. Premium Takes back in your life with my fellow co-host. Now, we have a lot of football to get to, guys, but I want to address some things that we want to talk about first. Shout out, not shout out, but I just wanted to give thoughts and prayers again to the families affected by the wildfires. We're not really a political, a real life podcast here, but I just want to say, first of all, shout out to them again, because I know that's been affecting the California area. And that being said, like I said, we're gonna be mostly talking about football today, but 311 is this weekend, big UFC fight. I will be talking about that later on the Combat Club with Raphael. What's up, Cameron? Again, thank you so much for being here. But before we get into the major games, that is college football, and that was the wild card weekend, and preview the national championship game and also preview the divisional weekend, I do want to let the boys talk about the second week of Netflix, WWE on Netflix, War that is, and what they think. I honestly haven't watched too much, but what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing online is great reviews. So let's take the first 10 to 15 minutes on touching on WWE. How do you guys feel like it was the second week, and do you guys as WWE fans, do you guys think that this is probably the best that we've seen WWE in the latest years? You know what I'm saying? So I'll let you guys take it over. Whoever wants to begin, go right ahead.
Take the floor.
I think it was the best era. Thank you, Mac. I think it's the best era since the Attitude Era. I'm starting to see why, because somebody from the Attitude Era is now running the show. You're starting to see Triple H wanting to take it to a new level. And to me, that's what wrestling was about, right? Pops, surprises, all different types of wrestlers coming in, but then the product itself had to sell. You had to wrestle. In the Attitude Era, you had good wrestlers, you put on good matches, and then it kind of got stagnant for a while. But now, oh man, it is fire. You got Seth Rollins, CM Punk, great match. You got McIntyre inserting himself. Like, the stories are starting to write themselves, and I don't want to say I'm excited, but it's just a new flavor that we haven't seen. And I do believe AEW has helped being a second entity, almost like a minor leagues. Guys can go there, get their craft, redo some things, and then they're like, you know what? We need them. We can have a storyline. We can bring you up or be a free agent. It's great stuff. Like, I learned Pinta. I knew him because, if you guys know, George Kittle does his sign in the end zone. He does the little Pinta sign or the Pinta pose that he does, right? So my first exposure to him, WWE has been an institution. Sometimes you get wrestlers in there that just blow your mind. He was one that was like, wow. You've seen a lot of luchas come through, right? Rey Mysterio is one of the most famous. You have Sin Cara. You have a few others. There's Ultimo Dragon from WCW, if guys even remember back then. He was good at lucha. There's another one that's famous in WCW. I forgot who it is. But my point is, this guy looks like the total package. Like, he could be a champion. He could be a face that runs the place. He was mesmerizing. He did great moves, aerial stuff, and I just hope that we get to see more of this. The surprises, the storylines. John Cena's back. CM Punk's. I'm just excited. Mac, tell him how you feel.
I mean, it was a great way to start the show off on Monday night on Netflix. Penta being the surprise debut, which wasn't really much of a surprise. A lot of people obviously already knew who was stepping into the arena. But it was definitely, like Adam said, man. He came in, put it all on display, man. His full repertoire, he just put it out there, and it's like obviously you don't right now. It's not something you're seeing regularly with most of the other WWE superstars, so he's bringing something fresh to the table, man. As you see, WWE very, very smart here. They didn't even waste time. They brought to right on to the big show, Monday Night Raw on Netflix, man. And it was a great way to debut in a match against Chad Gable, which is just a perfect opponent to have him come in and get over with the crowd and everything else with WWE fans. You put him in with one of the best ring technicians that you have in the company. And it was just a great match. It was a great match to start off Monday Night Raw. What's going on, Rafael? El Capitan.
But
yeah.
I just think
Penta will definitely bring something fresh to the table, man.
And not to stop from Penta's debut, because I think that was fantastic, but the women's division's also getting a little more flavor. All right. With, Tiffany Stratton, I know she won the title on SmackDown or wherever it was that she was on. And they, somebody came out to follow up on Raw, Nia Jax to Rhea Ripley, but Tiffany Stratton getting an opportunity. I want to just give a shout out to Triple H, because he really is doing what you need to do. Is he listens to the people, the fans. He takes risks as a promoter right now, right? If it doesn't work, he scraps it, or he rewrites it, or he tries his best to fit it in. Like if you look at the Wyatt Six, I think it's tough to emulate that, because you lost the patriarch of that, group in Bray Wyatt, and they're trying to resurrect it, but he's not given up on it yet. And I appreciate that him doing that. The Penta thing, how he's signing free agents and he's letting this guy go on display, getting new blood in the women's division, women that actually wrestle too, that actually can do some acrobatic things. We were talking about Chelsea Green earlier, how she won her title, and Mac and I were speaking about the Money in the Bank match, where a person like Chelsea Green, who you never thought could really pop, learned wrestling. Like it all came together, and now she's a great heel with a title, and she's gotten better in her as her ring career has gone on. So hats off to that, and hats off to like Triple H to allow it. And my girl Rhea Ripley finally getting the title. Oh my God, she's a great title holder. Like I used to get sick of Charlotte Flair. I don't get sick of Rhea Ripley. She's a badass. She can take anybody on, and we'll see how the storylines line up for the Royal Rumbles.
Well said, guys.
Yeah,
a lot of things to be excited about. Go right ahead, Mac.
And I was just gonna say, also on the Netflix show this past Monday night, I don't want to leave anybody slighted, man. We just like couple weeks back, we crowned Chelsea Green as the inaugural Women's United States Champion on Netflix Monday night. Lyra Valkyria was crowned the inaugural first ever Women's Intercontinental Champion, as she was the winner of the tournament, defeating Dakota Kai in the finals on Monday night. And just hats off to her. She's had a great rise from NXT up to the main roster. Has been seamless. She was NXT Women's Champion down there, and now she's coming up to the main roster, and she's got gold around her waist on the main roster as well, man. So right now, holding it down for the Scottish females, while Becky Lynch is still right now out of action. So shout out to Lyra Valkyria. It's a great job, and I love what WWE did with both of these tournaments. Like I said, it's just easy. It would have been so easy to put one of those titles on, like for instance, Bayley, and one of those titles on, right, like a Naomi or something of that sort. But they're giving other women an opportunity to now be showcased as well with the mid-card titles now in place. I think that should do a lot for the women's division in WWE on the main roster. And if anybody's following NXT, the NXT women, they claim to have the best women's division in all of pro wrestling. And honestly, I think they have a legitimate case for that. The NXT women's division is absolutely loaded. So now with these mid-card titles up here on the main roster, that can or maybe open up some more doors and some more avenues, and maybe get a few more spots up on the main roster for the female talent now to start being more showcased on a bigger stage, as Netflix and USA and such. So
they're doing a great job. I just want to say the last thing, that to touch on Mac's point, the women era is beginning. All right, we've seen it with the men since the 80s and 90s and all that. Wrestling's been around, but now you're going to start to see the women's evolution really take off, and you're going to start to see something that you saw like in the 80s and 90s, wrestlers all over the place, people getting titles. It's going to be simultaneous. I would not be surprised if at some point they break off and have an all women's show at some point where the entire show is nothing but women's wrestlers. And so I'm probably forecasting down the road, but that's where their evolution is going. And, the many different faces and characters that we're starting to see that are going to become synonymous, right? When we think about women's wrestling, I think about, Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler and Sable, you know what I mean? I mean,
yes.
Probably Miss Elizabeth
and Michelle
and, Sensational Sherry. Like those were the women that we had in our era. And, Trish Stratus and all that. But Trish Stratus and Lita were the only two real wrestlers. You had Mickie James in there every once in a while, but the division was not the same as it is now. And it's going to be good to see because you're going to see different wrestlers. The reason why Charlotte Flair, I believe, is not here, she's not needed. She's not needed right now. There are legitimate characters that can carry the business. Rhea Ripley right now is Charlotte Flair to me. She is the top of the food chain when it comes to women's wrestling. And I don't need to see Charlotte Flair anymore, per se, because I have that. That's why, like Naomi, as soon you're going to face her out. I want her to be in the title hunt because if you're a legend, I think you should be in it if you're there. But we've talked too much about this. I'm going to stop now, but that's all I just wanted to say.
I got a feeling that we're going to see Charlotte Flair at the Royal Rumble. I'm just getting that vibe. I mean, you just keep seeing everything about how she's so close. She's been working out. She's right there. She's like whenever she should be returning shortly. I think the Royal Rumble may be that time where we actually see Charlotte Flair back
maybe
in
Alexa
the
Bliss.
ring. So just remember. Alexa Bliss, I don't know. I haven't been hearing too much, honestly, about Alexa Bliss, so I'm not really sure what's going on with her. I mean, maybe she just, I don't know. I mean, these new mommies, man, they're not always so quick to want to come back. So,
listen, I just want to see I can't wait for the Royal Rumble. I'll be honest with you. I can't wait for it. Like, I don't know who's going to win per se because I don't know what they're going to do with the heavyweight titles, because, anyone placing Cody Rhodes is marquee. And Gunther, I think, is the one title that I think if he lasts to Royal Rumble, which is about only 2 weeks away, WrestleMania, if he lasts to WrestleMania, I don't know who would. I think John Cena is easier to take the title off Gunther, and people can be like, oh, okay, I see where that's going, rather than him taking the title off Cody, because that, Cody would probably have to win and things like that. Like, I just can't wait to see where they go with this. It's going to be fun.
No, we're getting the three-peat. We're getting three-peat at Mania. We're getting the trilogy, at the completion of the trilogy at Mania.
Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes.
Mania, no matter what happens in the Royal Rumble, you're going to have that match at WrestleMania. You can book it. They're going to complete that trilogy. You can believe that shit. As far as Gunther's title at WrestleMania, because I believe Gunther should absolutely take that title into WrestleMania. He's absolutely earned the right to. And I don't know. I can see a number of potential opponents coming his way. I don't know if you go the angle of John Cena, if you want to put that, get that, you want to get that last, get that extra title shot to get the record or whatever. I mean,
I think that's what's going to happen
when the championship begins. But
because think about what you just said.
Because right now the Royal Rumble, men's Royal Rumble is loaded. It's absolutely loaded right now.
Yeah, the top four guys are crazy. But think about what you just said.
No Mets in the building. What's up, no Mets?
You just said Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, right? If that's a lock for WrestleMania, you don't necessarily have to have Roman Reigns win that title to continue that storyline. But if you want John Cena to have a shot at a title, why not be Gunther there of all the amounts? Now, if he beats Gunther, it's not bad on either end. You know what I mean? But that's all I'm saying.
Well said. Beautiful talk. That gave it just exactly 15 minutes on WWE. If you guys want UFC talk, catch me and Raphael tonight on the Combat Club. We will be previewing the UFC pay-per-view this weekend. 2 big championship fights. Beautiful cord. But thank you to the boys for giving their insights on the WWE. As we move on in our show, Now, I know it's been about a week since this game happened, but what we're going to do is so fast on Premium Takes and other shows where we're so fast to talk about the next game that we kind of look over the game that just was. So let's talk about the game that set up Notre Dame to go to the national championship against Ohio State. So what we'll do is we'll talk about the Orange Bowl for a bit, get our thoughts on the Orange Bowl. We'll talk about the Cotton Bowl, and then we'll talk about the national championship. And then most of the show, guys, will be dedicated to football. And then we'll go into the wild card weekend recap and then touch on the divisional round. Notre Dame, I'd like to just say shout out to Marcus Freeman, getting his team ready to go out there and battle against a great coach like James Franklin. Marcus Freeman, I'm going to let Adam touch on him a little bit more because this is his team. But I would just say this from the outside looking in. If I was a Notre Dame fan, I'll be super happy on where this program was and what this program has become over the last couple of years. Now, Notre Dame is always going to play you physical, always going to be a respective organization or respected school. But what Kelly left Notre Dame and what Marcus Freeman was able to make with Notre Dame is absolutely beautiful, and I would love to see Adam's thoughts on that when he gives his points on the game. One thing that really we was all looking at in this game is a linebacker, obviously in Abdul Carter. A lot of people are saying Michael Parsons 2.0. When you guys watch this kid on the football field, he pops out of your TV. He was absolutely disrupting the game for a bit. I believe he had a sack with 7 quarterback pressures, and he was getting there. He was getting there. He had like a 22% pressure rate, I believe. Big on stopping the run as well. You could see early on that Penn State was being physical. It was a defensive game at first, defensive battle. I want to give a shot at what I've seen is I know I'm all over the place with my take here, guys, so just bear with me. A wide receiver that I felt, did a really good job is Jaden Greathouse, kind of swinging the momentum back into Notre Dame's way when they really needed it. But it was really a game about the trenches, both physical lines battling each other. Obviously, shout out to the backup quarterback and Steve. He came in at a crucial time. I believe his name is Steve, if I have that correct. Steve. He came in at a crucial time, and Riley Leonard was hurt for that time being. And I know I mentioned Carter, but he was playing injured the whole game. And I know Penn State had several injuries as well throughout the game, but that doesn't make any excuse on why they lost the game. Notre Dame just capitalized in big moments that they needed capitalizing on and closed it out when they needed to close it out. And that's really the story of the game. I want to leave some for the boys to touch on, but, beautiful to see Notre Dame, show up. Obviously, they got that one loss against Northwestern, barely by a field goal. But if you looked how they battled all year long, I mean, like, they out here, they basically shedded on teams that wasn't in their level, and finally when they reached a team that was in their level, they played a hard-fought competition against them, back-to-back against Georgia, and then to go Penn State. We'll talk about them against Ohio State after we preview the Cotton Bowl, that is. But go right ahead, Mac. I want actually Adam, being that is his team, and Mac will go first on the Ohio State one. Adam, what is your thoughts on Notre Dame and Penn State?
I thought it was a good game, probably the best game we saw on the weekend for me, at least. At one point I thought they were going to lose, and remember Penn State got that turnover, and they had the momentum. And they go up 24, and you're like, oh, my God, if they stop them here on that drive that Penn State got the ball back on that deep pass, that's the drive. If Penn State stood up there, I thought it was over for Notre Dame. They hit that big bomb down the field. The DB missed the tackle. They tied the game up, and all of a sudden I'm like, well, this is a different ball game. And then I think Drew Aller.
And he threw it into, like, triple coverage to Warren, right?
Yeah. Yes. And the thing is, with Drew Aller, at the end of the game, he had a chance to come down and drive. Now, if I do believe if he came out and won this game and had a game-winning drive, he'd come out tomorrow. They'd be like, why would you need to do anything else? But Notre Dame defense affected him. He was off platform. He made some boneheaded plays. That last throw, I don't know what he's looking at. It was a great play by the DB, let's be honest, a bad route by the receiver, but that ball is not supposed to be placed there. And if he dirtied it, they get another shot. He didn't. He panicked and he threw it. And that's what happens when you play big time defenses like that, like Notre Dame has. They can force you into mistakes. And I think Penn State did a yeoman's job of, they had like 5 sacks on Riley Leonard. Like they had a lot of they were doing their job, keeping themselves in the game. They were just a couple plays here, a couple plays there, and it's a different ball game. So hats off to Penn State, hell of a job. As far as Marcus Freeman goes, it just goes to show you what you can do with the program when you have a believer and a leader of men. Brian Kelly obviously hasn't even had that much success in LSU, to be honest with you, right? As he had prior to
Kelly can't win big games, bro.
Right, and then Kelly and Notre Dame, they went to the national title against Alabama and actually got steamrolled in that game because they weren't really ready for that big stage. This is different. They recruited well. They play well. They brought in Riley Leonard, who fits the offense. They're a downhill type of offense where they want to pound you with the rock. They have their quarterback that occasionally runs and does that. If you watch Riley Leonard, he's not spectacular. He's an efficient player, right? He makes a short pass when he needs to. Occasionally throws a deep ball because he has enough arm strength to do it. But they're trying to keep everything kind of, let my offensive line bludgeon you, and then my defensive line bludgeon you, and basically just bully you off the field. But Penn State, kudos again to them. Andre Carter's a beast. Mac, take it away.
I mean, you said it. I mean, it was like I said. I just enjoyed this game, man, for what it was, for the defensive struggle that it was a lot of the way. I mean, it was just, it was. I mean, good stuff. I mean, people had their eye on the quarterback out there from Penn State. A few people. Tough night at the office for the young man. A little bit tough night at the office for him. That's how it goes sometimes in these big time matchups. But this was a great defensive performance by both of these football teams through most of this football game, and Notre Dame was fortunate to come out on top in this one. But this was definitely a fun one, enjoyable to watch. That's really all I got.
Well said, well said. As we move on to Friday's game, we add the Ohio State Buckeyes to take on the Texas Longhorns. And boy, Ohio State was about to run away with it and go up 14-0, but then obviously with mistakes, Longhorns calling them back. And then it was kind of like a stalemate for a while. Both teams kind of, stopping each other, trying to move the football down the field, stopping each other, trying to move the football down the field. And then in the fourth quarter and second half, it kind of broke out there at the end. That being said, one thing I really wanted to point out that kind of obviously stuck out on my mind was, I believe, the roommate of Will Howard, basically Jack Sawyer, forcing that fumble and taking it to the house, and that basically sealed in Ohio State's victory. Shout out to Tennessee though. I'm not Tennessee. I apologize. Shout out to Texas and create errors.
Texas.
Putting the football where it needed to be put. Any team could have won this game. Don't let this 28-14 score fool you. It was a close game up until crucial turnovers and stuff like that. But Texas was absolutely in this game more than I thought they would be in this game. So hats off to them. A lot of fans was in the house, being that it was just right down an hour and a half away from their stadium in Austin. They're playing at AT&T. That being said, though, Ohio State, man, it shows them. Now, I don't want to even use this because it's so cliche, because Texas was playing at their level, but it just goes to show you it's kind of like experience matters. And like in the playoffs, when the Chiefs go into Chiefs mode, right? The experience matters because for them, they're not sweating the moment. It's all calm. They're playing relaxed. And that's what I kind of see with Ohio State, right? When they had to turn it on and when they had to take over the game and end the game, the experience of Ohio State being there year in and year out, they were the first team to win when the playoffs just got started back when it was only a third team playoffs. They was the first team to win that, and they might be the first team to win this 12-team playoff. Hats off to Ohio State, man, like looking like an outstanding team. And one kid that I didn't really mention that much because honestly, I wasn't really following Ohio State as much as I could this season, was Jeremiah Smith, man. Texas Longhorns did a great job on keeping that kid in lock. Obviously, Ibuka was my number one receiver before the season started, but seeing Smith, this kid, true freshman, red shirt, 19 years old, absolutely demolishing the season with over 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns straight out of high school. What Jeremiah Smith did for Ohio State this season will not be forgotten. That's an amazing true freshman year, going back for his sophomore course, and his name is, the nation knows it now. Even though Texas obviously had him in lock, only had one reception for 3 yards, Ohio State was able to get it done, using him out on the field as a distraction and stuff. But I'm not gonna forget that name. I'm gonna keep an eye on Jeremiah Smith going forward, because I don't know why I didn't. I remember seeing him on 24/7 coming out, but honestly, with the depth that Ohio State had, I didn't realize that he was going to be as effective as he was this year. So shout out to him. But absolutely, Tate did his thing as well. But I don't want to say too much. I'm gonna let Mac handle his shit and then pass it over to Adam. Let's get it. Go ahead, Mac.
So what's going on, Alex, man? Thanks for stopping in, bro. Appreciate you.
Alex in the building.
But this game here, Ohio State, they got tested a little bit here. This game definitely, like Zion said, that 28-14 score. Game didn't really feel that lopsided to me at all. Watching this game, Texas was definitely right in there with Ohio State through most of the way through in this game, and this is Ohio State, the way they've been coming in. I honestly thought this was going to be an absolute massacre. I thought they were going to come in and just waste Texas the way they did Oregon, to be quite frank. But Texas was up for the challenge. I know Texas's defense is a different, has a little step in class, especially that back end, that secondary. But this was definitely a close one here, not close one, but this was definitely a good competitive game, more competitive than the final score may indicate to you. And look forward to the title game on Monday night.
Well said, well said. What do you make out of this one, Adam?
I think it was, like Max said, closer than you think. People don't realize that Texas was driving inside like 4 minutes inside the red zone. All right. That was 4th and a mile. I shouldn't say 4th and a mile. It was 4th and, 5 or something, because they got a penalty and they did a stupid toss play against the defense that lost them yardage when they were down at the 1 yard line. And the tackle got absolutely, snuffed by the defensive end who made the sack fumble. That guy didn't even touch him. He didn't even put a hand on him. If he puts a hand on him, maybe Quinn Ewers can make the pass, and then maybe it's incomplete and they lose 21-14. But instead, what happens is the tackle doesn't make his block, sack fumble, there you go, which was a promising drive by a guy like a Quinn Ewers, who that's what you wanted to see. That's why they kept him as a starting quarterback. People forget Quinn Ewers was a good player for Texas for a while, but he was banged up. A season ago, he was banged up. And then this year, he was a little banged up as well. No excuses, but those are the reasons why you brought him down there. So he, I don't think he played bad. I think he's going to get pinged for the interception and the fumble. Obviously, you have to. You can't. They came in crucial times, but if you look at circumstance, he had them on the ropes. And they remember they got a pass interference in the end zone, so they literally were down there, and then they tried to run the ball, and they did a toss sweep, got cute, and then sack fumble, game over. As for Ohio State, I thought they would win this game. I didn't think it would be as close, but Will Howard had a couple crucial drives in there too. Again, his stock is rising as we speak. The more he wins, he did exactly what he needed to for that team. As you can see in his numbers, what he did, he was efficient with the ball. Obviously he threw an interception, but he orchestrated the game well enough to keep, Ohio State's offense on the field long enough to score points. Texas, on the other hand, had chances in this game. They got the ball. Their defense made some stops. They just had crucial drops and a few misses here and there. And this game is a different story. So, again, hats off to Texas, but Ohio State's on a mission.
And I believe we all know that Quinn Ewers had announced that he is coming out as well for the draft. So that's another quarterback that his name is going to be in the mix as well. So the combine should be fun because now we have all these quarterbacks that's lasting longer in the playoffs, and obviously one going to the championship game, and then you got other quarterbacks declaring that they are going to come out. That being said, it is now Archie Manning's teams. Hopefully he can do the best that he can. And I love how the camp coming out of the camp is saying, hey, we're not gonna rush him. It's not gonna be it might not even be a one and done. With this, name, image, and likeness deals in college, we might not see him come out next year. We might see him come out later. So for Giants fans saying, oh, we can just go get Archie Mann next year, like let's just calm down there. He might not even come out. Let's not watch things. But shout out to Ewers and what he did.
That is so Giants fans. That's so Giants fans.
Oh, God.
All right,
guys. Arch Manning. Woo!
This is going to be a fun one, man. I can't wait. Obviously, it goes down on Martin Luther King Day, January 20th in Atlanta. What a place, Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? They did that for Martin Luther King, probably, right? If I'm correct on that. I could be wrong. That being said, though, we got Ohio State Buckeyes versus Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It's really a tale of two tapes here. We got high-flying Buckeyes, basically the best offense in the nation. What people said that was going to come in, obviously not in every category. You can't go look it up. It won't say Buckeyes. But when you watch these guys play, I mean, like they moved up and down the football field. Texas was able to, kind of put them in check. What Mac was saying, kind of a stalemate at times. But going against a physical team, a team that just got over a hot flying, Indiana, when everybody was all on their tail, and then Notre Dame goes in and be like, hold up, not so fast, and then not only that, they do beat Georgia, and then Penn State. I do want to point out before we touch on this game that Fighting Irish is representing the independent conference. That means they keep 100% of the revenue. So usually when a team makes a championship game, I believe each team in the conference gets about 10 or 20%. But guess what? Even like say like the Big Ten, like SC, like if we're getting like 20% or 10% because Ohio State's in the Big Ten. Guess what? Fighting Irish, they're independent. Motherfuckers keep 100%. So shout out to Notre Dame doing it as an independent. Yeah, and we all knew Notre Dame was going to make the tournament, but honestly, I never met a soul that said the Fighting Irish was going to make it. And that's not nothing against Fighting Irish. It just goes to show you how deep this playoffs was, and for them to survive it, and to meet, a lot of people's favorite to win it all coming into the season, Ohio State Buckeyes, is just credit to himself. In their program, and that's why would I pick against them? This is Giants in 07 going against big bad boys in Ohio State. I mean, like Ohio State, they've been there, they've been on top, they've been doing their thing for a while. Obviously, the Georgias came in, you had the Alabama dynasty, you had Michigan, obviously, but Ohio State has always been a respectable program, always been at the top, always been in conversation. Man, give me Notre Dame, bro. Let's get that physicality. I know Ohio State's going to get some long touchdowns here or there. Yeah, Denver did it against Buffalo Bills on Saturday. Did they win the game? No. That being said, Ohio State's going to get some touchdowns like that, point given. But when it comes down in crucial moments, the magic of Notre Dame and the season that they're having is just going to show up. Give me Notre Dame, because that loss was supposed to be a win. And I'm not just going to say that to say that. They should have won that Northwestern game, and they showed to go on a win streak and not to lose, to know how crucial it was losing against Northwestern to motivate them to go on the streak, get into the college football playoffs, and eliminate teams like they did. If they can beat Georgia, they can beat any team in the nation. Give me the Fighting Irish. Go right ahead, Adam. Go right ahead, Mac. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Adam. You was muted.
I'm excited for this. Notre Dame, again, has been in the national championship a few years ago. It did not end well for them. I do believe, though, this time around, they're on the equal playing field. I would say in terms of talent, in terms of players. I think when they played Alabama in that national title game a few years ago, that's the one where Jalen Smith blew out his knee. They didn't really have the same talent on the field as Alabama. Alabama was bigger, faster, stronger. It just showed. This game, I think you're going to see a different team. I think Notre Dame defense is what they pride themselves on. They're going to run the football, and it's going to be a fun game to watch. And we'll really see if Will Howard is the guy that Ohio State thinks they are, he will deliver in this game. And we'll see Ohio State Buckeyes. I can't pick them this week. You know, I know they've been on a heater ever since Mac. And I credit Mac for this. He's the one who said that they, might have a chip on their shoulder.
Michigan planted their flag. I remember Mac saying that.
Right. And I said, and we mentioned, and I mean, that's one of the reasons I picked him was when he said that was that's going to get you to say, okay, you think that's fine? This is how we're going to disrespect everybody. That's what they've done throughout the playoffs. However, the Fighting Irish, who are my team, they earn their way here by gritty, tough, hard-nosed football, and I think they're going to show up on Monday night.
Well said.
Well. I mean, look, this game here, I'm salivating. This is going to be a great one. On Monday night, I'm off work on Monday. I get to just relax all day and get ready for this game to come on at whatever time it starts, like 8:30 or whatever time it is. But, yeah, I'm salivating on this one. This is like, remember football practice back in the day, that bull in the ring drill? That's what this game's gonna be like. It's gonna be like a whole like that drill. These guys are gonna be going at it, man. It's gonna be awesome. And I got to go with Ohio State. I got to keep riding that wave. I feel y'all in Notre Dame. The defense is real, but I'm going to keep riding that Ohio State wave because they seem to come to this tournament on an absolute mission, man. And I just feel like they're going to still be just a little bit too much for Notre Dame on Monday night, but this game is going to be good.
We're going to find out. We're going to find out.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I'm gonna be at work, but I will definitely
catch me outside
on my phone, and customers are gonna have to deal with that. They're gonna be watching this game and upgrading their devices. That being said, though, I'll do that.
Hope your boss is not listening right now. You know?
No, my boss be out there too. I don't give. I'm
going to be slacking off while at work. Thank you so much.
No. Like I have the customers watch the game. I put it on the speakers. They can hear it. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah. That being said, though,
while I upgraded, you watch the game while I upgraded.
One game that I wish I was watching because I was actually super slammed, so I couldn't watch it. So I'm gonna let the boys kind of hold down the Saturday slate because I did watch the hell out of the Sunday slate. But as far as Saturday, I peeked in, I peeked out. I was totally wrong with this. I thought Jim Harbaugh, obviously in his first year, congratulations for going 11-7. That's one thing to be proud of. Obviously, we know how good of a coach he is and what he was able to do with that roster, what he had in 1 year to turn over to go 11-7, and now he has a whole offseason and a draft to get better. Shout out to him. But Houston, man, they just had it rolling. So I'm not gonna fake it too much because I only watched in total watch time probably about 15 minutes of this one. So I'm gonna let Adam go first on this one. What's your thoughts on the Chargers versus the Texans, and then pass it over to Mac?
First off, the Chargers. My God, I picked them to win, and I think they kind of blew the game early. And what I mean by that is in the first quarter, they had a chance to put this team away, be up by 2 touchdowns, and they kicked 2 field goals. And I think that right there was the best shot. And once they gave their best shot to the Texans, from there, it was just the Texans just poured it on with their defense coming to play. C.J. Stroud playing probably the best game he's played in a while. I thought he did, at least. I thought he bounced back. He was having a shaky last couple games going into the playoffs. I thought he bounced back. Mostly in the second half of the first quarter, he kind of started to bounce back. The first half, you were kind of like, C.J. Stroud, what are you doing? And then eventually, like I said, he got his sea legs. That defense was ferocious. They made Justin Herbert look like Daniel Jones out there. And, I believe in Justin Herbert. I think this is one of those things that, he's going to take his lumps, going forward. And the one thing I will say that kind of creeped into my mind was the history of the Chargers. They always seem to blow it in these spots. Like no matter who's under center, for as long as I've known the Chargers in the playoffs, they seem to have games like this where you're like, oh man, you feel so good about them. And now the only time they haven't been like that was in the 1994 playoffs when they were basically counted out of every game they played in and went on a heater, beating Pittsburgh in the final seconds of the game to advance to the Super Bowl, to only get obliterated by the 49ers in that Super Bowl. But other than that, they've choked ever since then. I mean, Stan Humphries was the quarterback. I mean, that guy probably shouldn't have been your starting quarterback, but somehow Stan Humphries made it. That's right, people. Stan Humphries made it to the Super Bowl. And he played against Steve Young and the 49ers. You know what happened in that game. Ooh, brutal. But that's how I feel about the Chargers. Sorry that they lost. Sad that I picked you, but it's just been history seems to repeat itself with this franchise.
Well said. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this game just got away from the Chargers a little too quickly. I mean, in the turnovers, you just can't turn the ball over at that kind of way, that cavalier, and think you're going to win a football game on the road, no less. I mean, Houston came ready to play. This is the best game I've seen Houston play in a month or more, to be quite frank. I mean, overall, not even just C.J. Stroud. They're a team. Them as a team, they put one together. They came in ready to play Saturday afternoon against Justin Herbert and these Chargers, and they just took it to them. I mean, the thing is, this season the Chargers have mostly hung their hat on that run game, but this game got away so quickly that they had to abandon the run game for the most part, and it was just totally ineffective.
They have no receivers.
Justin Herbert sitting back there like a sitting duck. Like a sitting duck. I mean, he's getting it to Ladd McConkey, but somebody else got to step up, man. Somebody else got to step up.
Quentin Johnson, hello.
Can't just be
catch something. My God, you know that kid. You know that kid in Little Giants, where they would throw the ball to, right? And they would bounce off his hands, and they had to use tar. Like that's who he is. Literally, I don't know what you need to do, but put super glue on his hands or something, because that's what he does. He literally is that kid from Little Giants who can't catch anything.
You know, it's crazy too in that, and then it's like Quentin Johnson coming out of TCU. Like a lot of people were saying, like, oh, he's not going to be able to do that in the league, and then a lot of people were saying, like, oh, he's the best one coming out outside of a handful of other people. And then just look at the difference. And then Ladd McCourtney, when he was coming out, not that much people was talking about him, and people knew who he was, but not that much people was talking about him. It was all about Malik Neighbors. It was about Brian Thomas Jr. and stuff like that, right? And Harrison, and now look at Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors over 1,000. And guess who else is up there with them? Guess who's else right there? Ladd McCourtney. So shout out to Ladd, bro. Absolutely a stud. I didn't watch this game, but he got
200 yards receiving in this game.
Right, they had, but that's what they had nobody, man.
Receiving.
Had nobody. Quentin, I don't even know the other three receivers who are out there for the Chargers.
What did Palmer do? I mean, like Palmer did
every time, but it was like every time Justin Herbert would drop back to pass, he would throw it to Quentin Johnson on like a big third down. The guy would hit his hands and bounce to the turf. And you're just like, what is happening, bro? Like, and then he would throw it to Ladd McConkey, who's wide open. And then you're like, why aren't you doing this all game? It seems like every time I throw it to him, he's open. Like every time they would throw it to Ladd McConkey, there was not a guy in sight. They're like, what are you doing? They're like, what is happening? I'm serious. There's like 2 or 3 yards off Ladd McConkey. But Quentin Johnson, literally, this is a game changer. They threw the ball down the field. He had one-on-one down the field. He catches the ball, walk-in touchdown, right through his friggin' hands. End up settling for a field goal on that drive. But it's like those little things they weren't ready for. And like Max said, the Texans, bro, look, it's one game, it's home, but they look like a championship team, that defense. You were like, whoa, what Houston, what? Finally, wake up, boys. Like, I guess,
there's been all that talent on that side of the ball, on that defensive side.
Well, it's true. I mean, their defensive ends are beasts. They had both I forget the guy's name. I know it's Will Anderson, and who's the other guy's name? Oh, Hunter. Danielle Hunter. Both of them were in the backfield all day. You would think that Khalil Mack and Bosa would be doing that. They did not. They didn't have the same impact. The Texans defense was all they were.
Let me ask you this because like Hunter is what, I don't know, like 28, 29, I would say so.
He's
27 maybe. He's 30, but like Bosa's still young. Because I was gonna say, is it the age? Because obviously Mac is up there, but
I mean, guys,
you know what I'm saying?
Pass rushers stay. Bruce Smith was damn near 40 when he left. Some of these guys are specimens and can play a long time. Julius Peppers is one of them. Reggie White played a very long time. So
house.
A lot of these players, especially edge players, can play for a long time, but they have to be physical freaks, and it has to be a desire, and they just have to be at the top of their game.
Well said, guys. Here's another game that I wish I watched more of, but I couldn't because the store was still slammed on Saturday, but it's all good. We had the Steelers, like I said, guys, we all know when it comes to the tournament, anything can happen. Records don't mean shit, you know what I'm saying? But in the sake of Houston, the boys just got done talking about it, They looked bad. They looked bad the last weeks of the season, the last month of the season. They look like shit. Then they come in and they beat the Chargers that was just on a hot streak. So anything can happen. But we got the Steelers that literally was one of the best defenses coming into the tournament, and then to absolutely get demolished by the Ravens. But I didn't watch the game, so I can't really, that doesn't really paint the picture. I'm just gonna let the guys talk about it. But go right ahead. I believe Adam went first or Mac went first, but yeah, whoever wants to go, I forgot, I lost track. But what happened in this one? How did this one end up?
I'll give the floor to Mac.
Go right ahead, Mac.
Well, this one was just absolutely. This wasn't even this. Now this the opposite of what we said in the Texas and Ohio State game. This game wasn't really this close. Baltimore just came out and dominated in this one. To be honest, to me, it was never in doubt. To me, I felt like right from the beginning, man. Baltimore just punched them right in the mouth. Pittsburgh's they kind of limped their way into the postseason. I mean, they got off to a pretty solid start to their year, and it went pretty well through the midway point of the season. But then they kind of started hitting that. They hit a rough patch, and it showed here in this game. This performance once again. I mean, Russell Wilson just kind of all over the place. I just don't know what to say about this Pittsburgh team. And Derrick Henry, I mean, just ran the ball right down their throat. I mean, to me, it was a thrashing. And, and I don't think, like I said, I don't think the game was as close as this final score indicates that it was. I think it was much more lopsided than that, in my opinion. But that's what I got.
Well, I watched the game too, and I kind of feel the same way. These aren't your old Pittsburgh Steelers that we're known and love. They've had many decades of success. You think about Bill Cowher, Chuck Noll, that all those guys. Mike Tomlin won a Super Bowl, but it's like they've done this the past couple of years where even with Kenny Pickett, they get to the first round, they bust, right? So where do you go from here? And it's unfortunate because they don't really have diversity in their offense. They have George Pickens and a bunch of other guys, and their offense doesn't really hit the middle of the field. So if Russell Wilson doesn't throw a deep bomb, he's kind of bottled up. And it was a tale of two halves. Baltimore got out to a 21-0 lead at halftime. The Pittsburgh Steelers try to crawl and scratch back in it. Then when you think that they're close, right? Guess what? Derrick Henry breaks off a big run and breaks their backs while doing it, right? So that's exactly how it went down. They were up 21-0 on cruise control. I think I think Tucker missed a field goal as well, if I'm not mistaken. But they were on cruise control. Then they came out in the second half, and Pittsburgh did what they did. They made their adjustments, and they made a game of it in the second half. But like Max said, it wasn't really in doubt. But then the final nail in the coffin was a big run at the end by Derrick Henry, which is what you brought him here for, to be a closer, and that's exactly what he did. And I feel bad for Pittsburgh because I think the Ravens are a team of destiny this year. Call me crazy. I think they've played the best in the final stretch after their bye week. I know they played the Giants and a few other lowly teams, but sometimes you need those slump busters to get you going. Sometimes you need to get right games. against the Giants in Cleveland to be like, okay, we really should be dominant, and they're now playing. Their defense was flying around everywhere. Marlon Humphreys, Patrick Queen, it's not Patrick, Roquan Smith, all over the place. They were just and they had no answer. They had no answer for it. So I think the Ravens are going to be a tough out for anybody, and Pittsburgh, they got a lot of things they got to clean up next year.
Well said, gang. And yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to preview that Ravens versus that Buffalo game. And Buffalo is going to be amazing on that Sunday. Fight for MVP, even though, honestly, Josh Allen, you're an alien. You had an amazing season. But if I was voting, I would put my vote in for Lamar Jackson. The turnover differential is absolutely amazing to see this year. And that's a long way from where he was a couple years ago. That being said, though, we'll talk about the Ravens and Buffalo when we get to that, because Buffalo absolutely shedded on the Denver Broncos. I will say this, though, that first drive from Broncos, that Troy Franklin touchdown from Bo Nix, shout out to the Broncos. I thought it was going to be, obviously I didn't know it's going to I didn't know that was going to be the last time Denver was going to score. I thought they was going to get a couple more touchdowns, or maybe at least a couple of field goals. But no, that was the magic. But nothing to really down your head on. Buffalo was coming into this game as one of the better teams in the AFC, and Sean Payton, this is his first year with a first time rookie. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, like, nothing to really hang your head on. So they're going to improve. They're going to get better. But goddamn, did they get demolished? That's really all I have to say about this one. I'll let you go, Adam.
I was with a friend watching this game. Thought he and I were like, oh man, look at Bo Nix go, and then it kind of fell off from there. But to be honest, the Denver receivers didn't help Bo Nix at all.
Yes.
They did not help. Like, I'm not trying to give excuses for anybody, but they dropped balls all over the field.
It's almost like the Chargers. It's Sutton and then who else?
Right.
Tight end.
Yeah, but even then, it was Bo Nix was putting the ball in areas where you could get it, and they just weren't doing their job. Their run game didn't come through the same way. Defensively, they didn't stop anybody. I mean, Josh Allen literally is sitting there reading War and Peace back there and throws a bomb to a running back who literally is like roly-poling in the end zone. Like, I don't even know how this guy caught the ball and kept his feet in bounds and ridiculous. And once you call it a touchdown like that and it's iffy, sometimes you give it to him. I think they gave it to him. Like, listen, look at this crazy play we just witnessed. Do we really want to take that away from the highlight reel? If I'm calling down at New York and I'm there and I'm in the ref's helmet, I'm like, give it to him. That play was amazing. Just give it to him. You know what I mean? Like, that's how
in the top 10. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but if they go on to win a championship, that could be one of those things that they remember in that lead up to it, because it was a big moment, a big spot, and a big catch by a running back. So, Buffalo's on their way. Not much more to say.
Good. Go ahead, Matt.
I mean, yeah, just like Adam said. It came out. Bo Nix came out on that first drive. It threw that just beautiful. I mean, that was a beautiful touchdown. I mean, beautiful deep ball. Dropped it right in the bucket. I mean, that was just, you can't ask for a more perfect pass. But then, after that, it was just.
That was it.
That was it. I mean, that was just all. It was all Buffalo. After that, it was just Buffalo, and more Buffalo. I mean, just overwhelmed here. I mean, and I am disappointed with Denver defense coming into this game. Denver, pretty solid defense throughout most of the season, and
had penalties.
They really let me down here. I mean, not Josh Allen. That's a tough ass. I mean, he's absolutely one of the more elite signal callers in the league, but at the end of the day, I just still expected a little more from this Denver defense to help make this game a little bit more competitive. And Adam, you're right. It's not even about excuses. It's about what the facts were. And the facts were Denver was putting leaving a lot of plays out there. I mean, Bo Nix, he wasn't out there really truly struggling as much as it may appear. It's just he wasn't getting a lot of help from his supporting cast. So at the end of the day, man, I think they're once again we talk about how we talk about Washington how they found their young guy this year in Jaden Daniels. Denver's found their young guy in Bo Nix, and he may keep that team pretty competitive out there in the AFC West for some years to come. So
I will say this
they
about
just
Bo
ran into a
Nix.
buzzsaw against Buffalo. That's all.
He didn't look the moment didn't look too big for him. That's what I thought coming away from the playoff game was. I didn't look at Bo Nix like, oh man, he's rattled. I looked at Bo Nix like, oh man, it's unfortunate that it's going to go down this way, but he played his butt off, and things didn't bounce his way. When you put the ball in the guy's hands, and is he going to make every throw? Was he perfect? No, but sometimes you got to bail out your receiver, a la what Josh Allen did when he's throwing a ball in the back of the end zone, and your running back does whatever he does to catch it. That's playing above the X's and O's, right? That's a physical act of nature that you don't always see, and Bo Nix guys kind of let him down, So I just want to say, if you're Denver, you have a bright future. Enjoy Bo Nix, and hope he's like going to be the outdoor Drew Brees with Sean Payton. That's what he reminds me of. He's kind of like Drew Brees, compact, going to probably have a lot of passing yards.
That's exactly how it is going to go. And once you get some rippings and
he's in a great spot, Mile High. There's no air in Mile High. Like, he can throw the ball forever.
It is going to be a nice to see how his career ends up. That being said, though, we did have a game between the Packers and the Eagles go down. The Packers just came in this game absolutely demolished, injury prone, and boy did it show. Multitude of wide receivers went down. I will say this though, as much as the Eagles won this game, the Packers, held them own for a while. The Eagles kind of looked off. They didn't really look as good as I thought they was gonna look. Obviously, Barkley's gonna do his thing, but I don't know, man. I just feel like, I know this. I'm talking about this game, but I kind of just feel like, I don't know. It is off, and they're kind of lucky that they were playing a Rams team next week, and even though Rams had that amazing performance against the Vikings, Philadelphia's Lions are just much more better. But getting back to this game, I just think this was Philadelphia kind of looked cold in this game, even though they won the game. I don't know, man. I don't really know what I have to say about this game, honestly. I mean, everybody's on this trip about Brown reading a book on the sideline. I mean, I don't really care what the guy reads. You know what I'm saying? When he shows up, I love his answer too. He's like, "Bitch, I'm a 3-time All-Pro." I don't give a fuck what his boy says. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm gonna let the boys talk about this one because Green Bay kind of looked off. Obviously injured, but Eagles looked off as well. And maybe it's because of the injuries and Jalen Hurts, but they got the job done when they needed to. But what's your guys' thoughts on this game? Go right ahead, Mac.
Well, like you said, Green Bay walked into this one as the walking wounded, and it definitely showed. Jordan Love definitely didn't play one of his better games. Turnovers, just inexplicable turnovers, things you just can't have happen in the postseason against a good team in their building. And the Eagles, it was about the Eagles defense in this one. The offense put up, the 22 points. That was enough to get it done here, and that's just what it needed to do. This offense, we know, can turn it on when needed. They didn't necessarily need to in this game. Let the defense do the heavy lifting, and they did their part and put enough points on the board to just secure the victory. So it wasn't necessarily the prettiest, but clearly the Eagles proved once again that they were the dominant team here, the better team, even with their all-pro wide receiver on the sideline reading whatever book it was that he was reading. I mean, just the weird things you see on NFL sidelines. But
well, that's crazy though. That's
Eagles,
so good.
Like I said, they came in.
The stud can just be reading on the sidelines. Imagine, I want to be in a place where Malik Neighbors can just be reading on the sidelines and we're absolutely shitting on the team. You know what I'm saying? That's a good place to be.
Listen, I don't think you should be reading on the sidelines when you're A.J. Brown because he's already caused issues before. And to me, Nick Sirianni's not me. I would walk over to that young man in the locker room and tell him, yo, you ever read a book on my sideline, don't expect to play in the game because I don't want anything distracting me from what I need to get, and that's a Lombardi. Okay? And if it's anybody else, I probably don't care as much. But because it's AJ Brown, to me, it's like that's the type of shit that you can start to see and unravels a team if they get down against the Rams or something like that, right? It's not going to be funny when they're losing big time, right? Your shenanigans only are funny because you're winning and everyone's kumbaya. But then when that act runs thin, we've seen it with many people. I mean, look what happened with Odell Beckham Jr. here. He would do every dance under the sun and propose to nets and shit and dance and dance, and people were like, but then you get tired of it when you're not winning, because what is it doing besides being a distraction? So I just think I'm maybe a little old school on it. Like,
so you think he wasn't really reading? Like, it was just kind of like faking, you know what I'm saying? Like, bought it as a pop rather than bought it as motivation.
He was reading the book, bro. He had his head down in there reading that book.
Like, that's crazy.
I mean, if it was the preseason, I thought it would be. I thought it'd be funny. You're in the middle of a playoff game, on your march to getting a Lombardi. You don't need this headline. Think about this: if the Packers somehow won this game, right? That headline would be all over the place. Philly would have been eating him up. Oh, he's reading on the sideline. Nick Sirianni's going to be fired. He doesn't have his guys locked in. Blah, 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 blah. But it's all fucking kumbaya and rainbows right now because what? They won the game.
A steady Green Bay team coming
in.
So,
let's see what okay, let's say they advance. Well, hypothetically they advance against the Rams, right? Then what happens if you're against Detroit and you're getting your butt kicked and you're acting like a malcontent, right? How am I going to take you seriously, right? You got to know that the cameras are on you. Like, for example, the guy who got fired for being a jerk off or yelling at that fan, and taking it over the line. Like, there's cameras everywhere. This is not the 1980s where some one lone cameraman's going to catch you with the book. Everybody is everywhere, right? And people want to take any distraction that they can and use it for fodder. AJ Brown's already has history behind him. Well, look, he's going to break up the team and all this other crap that goes on with him. Why bring any more, publicity or attention to yourself other than that you want attention?
Yeah, that's an excellent point. That is a great point. I thought it was absolutely hilarious, but I do love your points, and I don't think he will be doing much reading against the Rams. Speaking of the Rams, I thought that was really crazy turn of events there. Obviously I knew the Rams was going to play the Vikings tough, but I didn't know that the Rams line was just going to take over like that, and at the end of the game, that Sam Darnold was going to look like a deer in headlights, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, like, 9 sacks. I mean, like, Donald had no time. And one thing about Donald is, like, the announcer said it too. Like, he's all like, Donald never likes to throw the ball away. And I'm like, no, he has to throw the ball away sometimes. And then it showed. I'm like, no, this guy would never throw the ball away. He'll just take the sack. And then I don't want to avail Donald too much because he did take his team to 14-4. But was it Donald or was it the coaching of Kevin? And when it really came down to a crucial moment in a big time game, he really went back to converting into Sam Darnold. And I really want to pose the question, did he fuck himself out of some millions here? You know what I'm saying? Because he was on the verge to get a contract. Whether it be, I don't even think it would have been with the Vikings. I think a team would have came in and they would have paid Donald. And I bet, and he would have probably got a pretty good chunk of money. But does this performance hinder that money? Does he lose some millions in this performance? Now, I get it. He really had no help. It goes to show you at the offensive line. But then again, it comes down to, as much as I respect Kevin and you went 14-4, it almost comes down to game calling too. I mean, like, you got to do something to help the kid out. And I just felt like, there was running the ball. It was running the ball effective. And obviously, when you go down, you want to pass the ball. But I mean, like, God, it was just terrible to watch. And on the Los Angeles side, I mean, like, that's a Sean McVay that just hungry, that wants another one. That everybody wants to look at the team and they're like, oh yeah, this and that and this and that. I mean, like, as long as you have Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Williams, I mean, like, it's off to races. And I love how Kupp is not a diva. He's not getting the ball, but he's not
reading a book on the sideline.
Yeah, he's not reading a book on the sidelines. Exactly. I love that. But shout out to the Rams, man. And I hope, Everybody's already saying that they can't outpower Philly like they outpowered the Vikings. But it's almost the effect of just playing with heart and playing with physicality. We all know that the Eagles are going to get AJ Brown involved early in the game, and Rams players when they hit him, they need to really hit him, and don't let Philly out physical you, because you need to play Philly just how you played the Vikings, and then maybe we can be looking at you guys playing the Lions or playing the Commanders rather than Philadelphia playing the Commanders or playing the Vikings. With that being said, I'm just surprised to see how physical Los Angeles looked, how mediocre Minnesota Vikings looked, and if I'm Justin Jefferson, I'm pretty pissed off. I'm like, I don't care how much stats I get. I mean, like, if we can't even win a playoff game, like, what the fuck? So that being said, I'm gonna turn it over to you guys. Go right ahead, Adam.
I think, to answer your question about Sam Darnold, this definitely brings down his value. He may ask for the moon, but he's going to get a good number, but it's not the number that you may think. It probably is going to be 3 years, 90 million, or 3 years, 100 million, or something like that. Nothing crazy. But it does bring his value down a lot, because those are big moments and big spots. 2 games in a row, he's looked bad against good defenses. And against this defense, he looked like he was seeing things. There was times where he could have stepped up in the pocket and he didn't. He kept drifting. He looked jittery and he didn't look decisive enough because he didn't trust what he was seeing. The Rams defense came with a sack fumble, returned it for a touchdown that also changed the game. He had some big turnovers in this game. Darnold, if I'm the Vikings, I'm like, see ya, don't let the door hit you on the way out. I have a quarterback who I drafted for these very moments, who had these very moments in the college football playoffs, right? That's one of the things about the college football playoffs that people are going to start to appreciate, is that these quarterbacks that you're going to start to see and start to follow are going to have a chance to show, themselves in big spots and big moments, right? And I think they're not worried. They even talked to the GM today, and he said something along the lines of, well, we drafted a quarterback not knowing that Sam was going to be Sam. And he's like, I took a gamble on you and it paid off. And now he has a guy under center in McCarthy, who's been in meetings, who you brought in for moments like this. And I'm not saying he would change it, but I'd like to see him in those spots. What would he do differently? Because, it wasn't like the Rams weren't beatable. The Vikings defense did the best they could holding this team together, right? And trying to keep them afloat. And they couldn't punch it in the goal line. They had turnovers on offense, so the Vikings didn't help themselves, but the Rams did a great job. They came out with intensity. And let's be honest, playoff experience matters. We don't talk about it much, but this Rams team is very, very grizzled. They've been to the playoffs. They won a Super Bowl with Cooper Kupp, and they went to playoff games with Puka Nacua and Matthew Stafford. Obviously, he's been there before. So the moment wasn't too big for them, even though they have a ton going on in their city. And anyone could have said, you know what, LA, you're spent. We understand what's going on. Losing this game is, okay. They didn't. They came out even more hungry and even more determined. And that defense looks pretty good. Sam Darnold's under siege all evening. So, hats off to LA.
Well said. And before you go, Mac, I would want to say this too. Like, for Kevin, being an elite coach, like this, yeah, you lost this playoff game, but I think it actually adds to your resume. The fact that you was known as an offensive guru, as a quarterback guru, and now you had a quarterback named Sam Darnold, and you went 14-4 with him. So when you talk about quarterback gurus, I mean, like, that just adds to your resume. And now you have a young one in JJ McCartney that you can groom into however you want him to run your offense. And then you have a backup with Daniel Jones that is mobile as well. So absolutely stud move on Kevin. Wherever Sam Darnold works out, I don't think he's gonna have that good of a season, because I think a lot of it was Kevin. I'm gonna come on. I'm gonna say that now. That being said, go right ahead, Mac.
You're damn right. A lot of it was Kevin O'Connell. A lot of it was Justin Jefferson. A lot of it was Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson.
That's nice.
I'm sorry about that, but yeah, like, so look. Here's what Sam Darnold. he had this put together career year. Looks all like, oh, this dude's finally putting himself in position to negotiate for the bag. And then then you get this moment where you can really kick that door in and say, yeah, pay me, bitches, against Detroit Lions week 18 in the season finale, or opportunity to get the number 1 seed in the NFC. And you get the Sam Darnold you've gotten for his entire career prior to this season. And then you get a chance at redemption the following week going out to L.A., Monday Night Football in the wild card round. And you get more of that Sam Darnold that you've seen his entire career. So it's like, yeah, he had a great year. And Adam, like you said, he'll still get a little something. Somebody will throw a little bit of money at him. But he pretty much definitely devalued himself big time with these last 2 games against opportunity to make a statement, and he just absolutely did not do that. And this Rams team, as far as I'm concerned, they're kind of finicky, man. You just don't know totally what to expect, but you know one thing for certain: you got a team that can do some damage to you offensively. I mean, they got weapons all over the place, to be quite frank. I mean, we all talk about Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and such, Kyron Williams, but they got a couple other guys, a couple other young receivers as well that definitely contribute to what they do out there. And Matthew Stafford's a veteran, future Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion. You already know what you got with Matthew Stafford. You always got a shot to win. So this team's they're gonna be tough. They're gonna be a little interesting to see, man. Interesting to watch. And the defense stepped up and just absolutely obliterated the Vikings offense on Monday night. So just like I said, if they can come out with that kind of energy, they can beat anybody.
I just want to wrap with this before we move on. A few things that I thought are part of this thing. One, Sean McVay is Kevin O'Connell's a Sean McVay disciple. So Sean McVay had insight on how to defend this team, right? So I think that helped with that experience, right? The second thing is that, the Minnesota Vikings, again, we talked about teams' history, right? And teams not doing well in the playoffs. The Minnesota Vikings have that history. They choke in big moments in the playoffs. It has happened their entire history. This team went to 4. They lost 4. I think I don't know if they were the Super Bowl 4 times or 4 championship games or something like that, and they lost in a row in their history. They've done this before. So if you bet against them, that's one thing. And the last thing is the Lions effect. We mentioned it before. I picked the Rams last week because the Minnesota was coming off a game against the Lions. Well, it showed again this time that this team looked battered, it looked beat, it looked tired, and then they got hit in the mouth and couldn't respond after that. So the curse is real. It's happened all season. So, and that's all I just wanted to add.
That's a good point, man, because the Lions, they play you so physical. They give all the points you just made there, right? Because the used to be Sean McVay's offensive coordinator. Another thing I wanted to point out, too, is, shout out to the Arizona Cardinals, man. Rolling out the red carpet, man, for the division opponents. I mean, like, we all watching the game. We all see what they did. Chartered planes, getting buses for the fans, and really even some pets of some dogs and cats that was affected by the fires. I mean, like, I couldn't even imagine Philadelphia's logo on MetLife's field. The fuck that. But at the end of the day, in times of need, we come together as a nation, and I love seeing that. I love seeing that from the Arizona Cardinals. That's word, you know what I'm saying? So shout out. That's a great owner, putting his stadium up like that and to make the Rams feel at home. So that was what's up. That being said, guys, for the final part of the show, we are going to be previewing the games. So starting with the Saturday slate, we do have the Houston Texans versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
Did we mention Washington? Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he just gonna.
Yeah. My bad, Washington. My bad. I forgot about that. Was an epic one too. That was the night slate. Oh yeah, let's get that. I skipped straight to the Monday game. My bad, guys. I was so excited to talk about the Rams. Thank you for that because that was a pretty important one too. Yeah, we have that Sunday nights. How did I forget
good
about this one?
balls.
How did I forget about this one? That being said, yeah, we got Washington Commanders, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm just gonna remember what I remember from this one. A lot of good stuff happened in this one with Jaden Daniels absolutely moving the ball down the field with his legs. And I will say this: it's not on you, Baker. I know he did show that he did make that mistake in the fourth quarter, but at the end of the day, it was just not meant to be. The Commanders just showed that it could have been a coin flip. Any team could have won this game. The momentum was swinging back and forth. What I did take out of this game, and as I was watching this game, obviously what I did, my thoughts on it, and what I did take out of it is, Jaden Daniels. What this guy brings to your team, right? We all talk about Lamar Jackson and what Josh Allen can do at times with their ability with their legs. And we all knew it in college, and we was talking about it early in last season in the summertime. We was talking about it. Obviously, we all knew he was going to get picked high. We knew he was going to have to trade the house to get him. But what this kind of quarterback does is able to take off. He may not have the best accuracy. He may not have the best, this and that, but what he's able to do with his legs is natural. He's athletic, and that cannot be taught. That's special. Lamar Jackson has that. Josh Allen has it at times. Patrick Mahomes has it at times, right? That's special. I will say this. I know we're focused on this game, and I'm gonna let the boys talk about it more. But I will say this: when I look at these quarterbacks coming out in this draft as Giants fans that's watching this program. One quarterback that can be our Jaden McDaniels if we can't go and get the guys that everybody wants at the top in the Sanders and in the Cam Ward is the Jalen Monroe. You heard that name pop up a lot on that show, and I want to say, Jalen Monroe with the Brian Daboll's type of offense, being that we will probably like I was talking on the phone with Adam not too long ago, and if he does get his rookie quarterback, we'll probably sadly might have to keep him for another year after this year. But he can effectively move the football with his legs, and when you get a quarterback like that, you're fighting for an extra down. It really, really matters in crucial moments, and it mattered a lot throughout the season, and it mattered in this game. So Giants fans, I know we're talking about Washington Commanders and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but don't be so caught up on these two quarterbacks at the top of this draft. Wait till the combine, wait till the pro days. There's a lot of quarterbacks that can move with their legs that is coming out as well. That being said, what do you guys think about this game? Go right ahead, Matt.
Like I said it. I've been saying it pretty much all season. It just sucks that he's a guy that the New York Giants are going to have to deal with for a long time to come in, man. Jaden Daniels is him. This kid just does not play like a rookie. He just does not look like a rookie. He does not perform like a rookie. He leads like a seasoned veteran. He is the undeniable leader of that team. The undeniable leader. Like that's it. They follow him. He has full command of this football team, and just no moment has ever seemed too big for Jaden Daniels this season. And once again, just in the clutch, getting it done when it's all on the line. Jaden put the ball in Jaden Daniels' hands, and good things are going to happen, man. He's been proving it all year, and just Washington marches on. So.
Well said. Go ahead, Adam.
Listen, they put this game.
Commanders, absolutely. Go ahead.
They put this game on prime time for a reason, and it delivered. Okay, and Jaden Daniels delivered. He got a shot in the final minutes. I missed the final minutes because I dozed off like an old man. And I woke only to wake up to watch them doink it in to go to the divisional round. So I didn't see the actual play, but you can tell I watched most of the game, and the moment is not too big for him. I said it about Bo Nix. I'll say it about Jaden Daniels. These guys come in, they have this surrealness about them where they're calm while the chaos is happening. And those are where the great ones separate themselves. And that's why a lot of the quarterbacks you see in the playoffs, CJ Strouds and all those young guys, they have that sometimes where it could be a crappy season or a crappy day at the office, and then boom, all of a sudden it just goes quiet, and you're watching the magic happen. So that's what's happening with Jaden Daniels right now, and it goes to show what a quarterback can do for your franchise, what a belief can do. I tell this to Mac every week that this team is on. I said we laughed at them week 1, and we're like, 37 points, even though we got our butts kicked 28-3. We're like, we're not going to lose to that team, right? Who just lost to Tampa Bay. After that Giant game, it's been nothing but up for them and nothing but down for us. Okay. And those are a microcosm of the season, that week 2 game. That literally is a microcosm. If the Giants win, who knows? Maybe they win a few more games and the season's a little different. But it didn't happen that way. It happened where Jaden Daniels came in and he kind of just took the NFL by storm. Now let's hope that he can keep it up. I know that No Mets was on our ass yesterday about keeping him in the pocket and stuff. I'm like, look, tell the kid, don't go out there and get blasted. Learn to slide. You know what I mean? Like, be smart about it. These quarterbacks, I watched Quinn Ewers at the playoff game try to run a linebacker over. I'm like, what's your problem, man? I know you were trying to be tough, but like, they're the reason you're a quarterback. So like, we need you. So he'll be smarter as he goes. He's already hurt his ribs once. You don't think he's going to, take care of his body more? But if I'm a team, I don't want to play the Commanders. I'm just letting you know that right now.
Yeah, that slate against the Lions is going to be amazing because it's going to be a physical battle between two teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Lions is battle tested, and the Commanders is coming off a big win against Tampa, so that's going to be fun at 8:00 on Saturday. But it starts with the Texans versus the Kansas City Chiefs, guys. I didn't watch too much of the Texans, but I'm gonna go on a limb here. I'm gonna just say it. Like, it wouldn't shock me if the Texans beat the Chiefs. I'm not gonna get shocked by that because I've seen some highlights and stuff like that. But then again, it is the Chargers, and as much as that won't shock me, I do think the playoff magic does happen, and the Chiefs get it done. Even though Travis Kelce hasn't really had the best season, he's gonna show up in the playoffs. I mean, like, they seem to have the best receivers on roster that they had in recent years, and the defense has been absolutely playing outstanding. And I know maybe 3 or 4 of those wins, of those 15 wins, maybe on like, wow, how did that happen? Wow, that's special. Wow, what the fuck? But you know what? It happened, and I just think it's going to continue to happen. It was a magical season. Games that they should have lost, they won. But I'm going to have to pick the Chiefs here at Arrowhead. As much as I wouldn't be shocked if Houston gets it done, I don't think they are going to get it done. Give me Kansas City Chiefs in this one. Go right ahead, guys.
Well, if you want a premium take, here it is. The Houston Texans are going to upset the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. Call me crazy, but if your defense can give you, if your defense can give you that effort, and the Kansas City hasn't been the same Kansas City that they've been the last few years. They're a little vulnerable, I believe, on offense. And defense, they haven't been as stout. I'm not saying they're not going to come to play, but and it's a big if. We're talking about as big can be. It's probably as big as the Grand Canyon if. But if they play like they played against the Chargers, we could be seeing an upset in the making.
I love that.
Woo! Woo! I am not as bold as you. I can't bet against playoff Patty, man. Can't do it. I can't fix my mouth to do it. Not at home, coming off the bye week, well rested. Probably about as this team is as healthy as they can be right about now. Houston, I mean, went out there, had a great performance against the Chargers a week ago, but this is playoff Patty now, man. This is what he does. You can talk about how unpretty it was all season with the Kansas City Chiefs. But this is what Patrick Mahomes does. This is the playoffs. You're getting ready to get full tilt. And I just can't bet against the Kansas City Chiefs, man.
Well said. All right, gang, let's move on. We got Adam going out on a limb saying Houston is going to upset. We'll review that next week. Will he get it done? That being said, we got the Washington Commanders flying to Detroit. You know, all these Detroit fans are gonna be in the building. Ford Field is gonna be rocking. It's gonna be a party. Eminem is gonna probably be there. A lot of Detroit natives are probably gonna be there. That being said, though, the Commanders are coming in hot, but I mean, like, how do I pick against the Lions? I love the career that Jaden Daniels is off to. A lot of championships maybe in the future, but right now, good story. But 13-5 as a rookie, great story. But going against the Lions, that just is absolutely you know, on another level this year, and they know the prize, they know the mission. You know what I'm saying? Super Bowl or bust, and they've been playing like that. So it's hard to pick against them. So give me the Detroit Lions in this one. Go right ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, look, been giving Washington a lot of credit all season, and it's been a great year for them. But coming out here, going out to Detroit, coming off the bye week, I just think Detroit's just going to have an ability to put up a few too many points, I think, for even Jaden Daniels to overcome in this one. I just think Detroit's offense is just far too explosive. It's nothing like anything. It's really not much like anything Washington's seen all season other than maybe the Eagles. And it's just Detroit goes about it a different way. So it's you talk. I mean, as great as offense as the Eagles have, Detroit's offense is also great, but in a little bit different way. And getting David Montgomery coming back into the lineup and adding that 1-2 punch in the backfield, it's just going to be a lot to concern yourself with for the Washington Commander defense. And I think it's going to I think it's going to be a little too much for them on Saturday night, unfortunately. So I'm going with Detroit here.
Well said. Go ahead, Adam.
Premium take. The Washington Commanders are going to upset the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are talking so much shit. They're saying, you can't deny us. This is our time. Sometimes you need to keep your mouth shut with a team that's on fire right now. Jaden Daniels, they don't do good against running quarterbacks. They don't. So I'm going out on that limb. This is Premium Takes. You want to spice it up? I'm adding all the hot sauce to this take, and I'm going with the Washington Commanders.
Wow, so you got Adam going with the Washington Commanders and Houston, and we got
He's got both the number one seeds getting knocked off. He's got both of the number one seeds getting knocked off.
Oh, that's nuts. He does. That's two. Well, Adam, that's crazy. Good job on that. I will say this though. I did take all the underdogs this week, but I took them with points. You know what I'm saying? Adam, he's taking them straight up. So wow, Adam, good stuff. That being said though, we got the Los Angeles Rams. Physical out against the Vikings, but going against big competition in the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to have to say this is where, as much as Sean McVay had great playoff experience, as much as he had his team ready to play the the Vikings, I do believe that the Philadelphia Eagles Lions are just going to show this game. I think they're going to be able to match whatever the Rams put up, and in the crucial moments, the defense of the Philadelphia Eagles is going to show up. I just think it comes down to better rosters. Nothing against Matt Stafford and Puka and all the great talent that the Rams have on both sides of the ball. I just think that Philadelphia Eagles has the better roster in my mind. And as much as I want to say it comes down to coaching, it always comes down to rosters. And Philadelphia is gonna come in and play the Rams tough, or not even come in. They're gonna defend home field advantage in this one, and the Rams are gonna be flying across country. So that being said, give me the Philadelphia Eagles in this one. Go right ahead, Adam.
Well, I was going to take 3 upsets, but because it's going to be possibly snowing on Sunday, I'm going to stick with the Philadelphia Eagles winning. Rams coming across country, in the cold weather. They're not in a dome. They're going to be outside. This could come back and bite me in the ass because the Rams can score. But I think the Eagles, this is what you brought Barkley in here for. This is what you're doing. And maybe, A.J. Brown, maybe you'll get the ball. So maybe you won't have time to read your book on the sideline because you'll actually be in there. But I think the Eagles have a good chance. And this is a game they need to win. You're clearly the better team in most of the aspects of it, so you need to win. So I just think the weather's going to play a factor, and that's why I'm picking the Eagles.
Well said, well said. Go ahead, Mac.
Yeah, it pains me to say this, but taking the Eagles here, hoping that maybe me picking them can throw a little bad mojo their way, in all honesty. But take the Eagles here, honestly. I think they slow this game down a little bit, let Barkley grind it out.
Reverse
This is a good
psychology.
Saquon Barkley kind of a game. Yeah, you want to definitely keep that explosive Rams offense off the field as much as possible. So you want to just try to grind this one out. Let Saquon Barkley do all the dirty work, and let your defense make sure your defense is cleaning up cleaning it up on their side of cleaning things up when they're on the field as well. So yeah, I just like the Eagles here tonight, even though I really want them to lose, but I'm picking them to win.
Well said, well said. Alrighty. That being said, we're moving on to what I believe is going to be the best game of the week. Two MVP candidates at work, two high explosive offensives and stud ass defenses at work. And as much as great as the Baltimore Ravens been playing, I'm gonna go bold with the Buffalo Bills in this one. So I have the Bills winning this one. So for me, I have the Chiefs playing the Bills, winner goes to the Super Bowl, and the Lions playing the Eagles, winner goes to the Super Bowl. I know that's lame because that's all the favorites, but I just have it going that way. Who do you have in this one, guys? You got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills.
I got the Baltimore Ravens. I got this is what you get Derrick Henry for. This moment right here. Go up to Orchard Park. Go up to Western New York right now. This is what you got Derrick Henry for. You go out there and you let him wear that Buffalo defense out, man. You let him wear that Buffalo defense out. And then once he starts getting that defense on his heels, let Lamar do what he's been doing all year, man. Just throwing the ball magnificently, man. Making great decisions and been just chopping up defenses, man. Unsung hero for this Baltimore team. The last about month or so of the season, I think people have been sleeping on a little bit. Rashad Bateman stepping up, making plays for this Baltimore offense, man. Got to keep an eye on that young man. And then obviously you know what you're getting out in Zay Flowers. I think Baltimore's going to go up here and make a statement and take it to Buffalo, man, and their season.
Good shit. Go ahead, Adam. Adam, if you're here.
I mean, I haven't heard that he's not playing.
All right, what'd you say?
Oh no. Your take on Baltimore Ravens versus Buffalo Bills.
Oh yeah, I guess my audio was not cutting in. My mic's been down, but I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens. 28-year-old Lamar Jackson. Someone told me Trent Dilfer won the Super Bowl for the Ravens when he was 28. Joe Flacco, he was 28, and now Lamar Jackson is 28, and they've been playing the best football of the last few weeks, I think, on the AFC side. As much as I love what the Bills have done, as much as I would love to see Josh Allen, according to you guys, Josh Allen and Mahomes, but it's going to be Josh Allen. It's going to be Lamar Jackson versus C.J. Stroud in my version of the story, and that's how it's going to go. Okay, Lamar Jackson's going to just be a little too much. I think this is the game you get Derrick Henry for. You get him for the snow, the cold. They can turn around and play. They have a decent secondary where they can match up. The thing that I was talking to somebody about yesterday on the phone was the Bills don't really have anybody on as a receiver that is like deadly. They have a bunch of guys that can play, but they don't really have a, quote unquote, number one receiver. So for me, I think that's going to help them that's going to be able to play into Baltimore's favor because they don't have to worry about matching up against somebody like they did against in week 1 who they played against Pittsburgh, like a George Pickens type. They don't have to worry about that. And I think that'll help them out. So I'm going with the Ravens.
Well said, well said. A comment I wanted to point out there from No Mets that I didn't know. He said a Sean McVay team has never allowed 100 rush yards in a postseason game. That is crazy. I don't think I have to go look at their history. But
have they played Saquon Barkley?
I was just about to say.
I was gonna say, Sean McVay team ain't never played Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, and that
behind
line.
the Philadelphia Eagle offensive line.
I believe I have to check in on that. I believe he's questionable at the moment. He will suit up though. Gotta go check.
Yeah, I think that's probably more precautionary. I haven't heard anything about him actually not playing in the game.
Who?
They're probably just taking it easy, being precautionary. It was Zay Flowers.
Oh yeah, well they didn't need him, so they're gonna win with Nico Collins. You'll see. I'm telling you right now.
Well said. Well said. That being said, guys, that is going to do the show right on time, around that 1:30, 1:35 mark for you guys. I appreciate all of you guys for joining the show, leaving the comments, hanging out with us on a Thursday.
Appreciate it,
that being said, absolutely, I am going to turn the hosting duties back over to my man, Matt the Giants fan, for he can get us out of here. But everybody be safe. Enjoy watching football. Catch me later on tonight for the Combat Club at Raphael, where we preview the UFC fights going on this weekend. A fun day, and in that on Saturday we got that. We got the NFL. Sunday we got the NFL, and then we got the college football playoffs on Monday. And I do want to say, if you guys are in NASCAR, I do dabble in that from time to time after this NFL season. And basketball is back, and March Madness, and all of that fun stuff. So that being said, just because football season is ending, it doesn't mean that premium takes. Remember, guys, we are a year-round show, fam. So make sure you guys hit that like button, share it on your Twitters, share it on your social medias. And if you guys want us to go in the off season, well, there is dimming of sports sometimes in all these leagues change. We will obviously get into some movies.
We talk about the UFL, man.
As well, the UFL. Adam
back in March.
We definitely can get into the UFL as well. Cavs versus OKC tonight. Thank you for pointing that one out. Major matchup in the world of basketball. We have the two ranking teams in the conference facing off with the 34 and 5. Sorry, I believe Cavaliers going against the 33-6 OKC Thunder. That being said, catch that game tonight. I know I'm going to be watching a little bit of it as well while doing premium takes. And that's actually happening on TNT. What am I talking about? That's going on right now. And then we got, obviously basketball next week. We can talk a little bit more on basketball. But that being said, guys, you guys have an amazing evening, and I'm going to pass the mic back over to Mac.
Appreciate you guys tuning in once again to another edition of the Premium Takes podcast. I am Mac the Giants fan. This is my guys, Adam Costas, Zenith. We are the Horsemen. Throw those fours up for our guy, NYG, Jeffy T, man. Always here with us. And we'll see y'all next Thursday. Pass!